Hello, everyone. Happy post full moon. Happy last 36 or so hours of July. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hello, and welcome to Happy Hour. It has been a while since we've done a Happy Hour segment, and I'm actually doing it a little later. Let me turn down Baby Rose. Hold on. If you've tuned into the last few live streams, you may be wondering, is she sick of Baby Rose? No. The answer is no. And if you have not listened to the Journalism album yet, you are missing out. I strongly encourage you to check the album out. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys had a peaceful full moon. I had a beautiful one, which is why I wanted to have a happy hour segment about post full moon reflections tonight. As I was writing notes for this happy hour, I realized that this is low-key Astro Hour. Even though I was trying really hard not to do another Astro Hour segment this week because I want to talk about the eclipses and the upcoming new moon in detail next week. But again, I just wanted us to come together, share a little bit about our post-full moon reflections, as well as talk about some of the really juicy astrological energy that August has for us. I don't know how many of you all who are watching tonight are on my Patreon. Okay, first of all, I almost forgot my intro. Hello, everyone. I am Soleil. I am the founder and facilitator of the Charm School Mentorship Program. I am your weekly reader. I am a certified life coach specializing in big life transitions and financial trauma recovery. And I'm a dope bitch straight up out of Oakland. Hello, hello, hello. Hi, Pratal. Hello, Dulcinea. As always, as you come into the room, please say hello. Hit the scale emojis if you can. The scales are syncretized with my name in a really particular way. So they do give me energy. Also, I really love for this space to be as interactive as possible. So if you talk to me, I talk back, okay? And tonight we're doing a happy hour segment. Happy hours where we come together to talk about, okay, so if you guys have ever heard me talk about how I have roses all over my house, I don't be lying. Like, why is there a random little bowl of rose petals in my way? I was setting up some roses for one of the spirits I work with earlier, and I forgot that was even here. What was I saying? Talk to me, I talk back. Oh, happy hour is where we come together. Same way you would for happy hour after work or at the end of a long week, where you gather with your friends to kind of catch up, chat, talk about pop culture, geopolitics, etc. Right? And we typically do it over a drink. I'm not drinking right now. I can't break my alcohol fast for another hour. So I got my typical blood orange sparkling water here with me. But if you guys want to have a glass of wine or if you want to sip something, feel free, even if it's just tea, okay? So typically I would come with some topics. Part of the reason why I haven't done happy hour in a really long time is because I haven't felt motivated to talk about pop culture. I don't want to talk about Cheyenne Brown anymore. Bitch lying. I don't want to talk about Young Miami. She is absolutely morally bankrupt. Beautiful girl, but morally bankrupt. Like, it's just so much of it is so obvious, right? Still working, can't drink, but I can smoke. Oh, hell yeah. See, that's what I can't do. I can't smoke right now. I probably have, Spirit has been putting me on these very, very long fasts from marijuana. And I'm a month into this current fast, and I don't know how much longer they're going to have me stick with it. The last time they put me on a fast from marijuana, they didn't give me permission to break it for 4 months. So, so we'll see. We'll see. Hello, Dulcinea. Thank you for joining. Again, as you come into the room, say hello, say hi. So yeah, I was intending to do a happy hour segment, and then as I started putting notes together, all these thoughts started coming to me about how August is about to be such a big energetic shift for a lot of people. I don't know how many of you are on the Patreon, but I talk about it in the All Signs reading over on Patreon. briefly, right? Um, we have two eclipses this month. And again, I'm not going to talk about them tonight because I want to talk about them in Astro Hour next week. But I do want to talk about the Lionsgate portal, which is something that I usually don't even honor or acknowledge, mostly because I don't believe in the science behind it. I'm going to be honest. Um, when people talk about the Lionsgate portal, they're typically fixating specifically on the date of 808, which is August 8th every year, right? And people who are what I call pop culture spiritualists, aesthetic spiritualists, they love an 1111, an 888, anything where there's like super, super basic numerology, right? But the Lionsgate portal actually refers to um, about a week and a half long period between July 26th and August 12th, right? That opens up something energetically. And it's based in a lot of Kemetic science and Egyptian spirituality. I'm going to be honest, I have not had the biggest or best experiences of the Lionsgate portal. That's part of the reason why I don't work with it, because I think it's just all pop culture misunderstanding. But I think that this year, working with that particular date can really open quite a bit for people. And it's not because of Lionsgate in particular, it's because we have so much going on already astrologically during this particular month of August. How many people woke up from the full moon or woke up during last night's full moon just feeling completely energetic, feeling refreshed, feeling like you released a lot of things even if you didn't do so intentionally? Am I the only person that felt that way? I definitely felt that way. In fact, I barely slept, I'm gonna be honest. I went to bed around 11 p.m. Spirit woke me up around between 3:45 and 4 a.m. And I've not been asleep since. I've just been a buzz, running around, cleaning things, getting rid of things. I walked through my neighborhood multiple times today. I've just been full of energy and vigor. And it's because I don't know what it was about this current full moon, but it really cleared some things out for me. And I woke up not worrying for the first time in probably months, if not weeks, right? Just feeling overwhelmed with a sense of optimism. Um, and I think a lot of that has to do with all these planets that we have in retrograde, right? We already know that Neptune is currently in retrograde, and that means that spiritual escapism and spiritual illusion is absent, right? There's a spiritual clarity that comes from Neptune being in retrograde. And when you pair that with Saturn being retrograde in Aries, which is very much about authentic power and making sure that you are moving from alignment and not ego, I think it opens up the space for a lot of us to let go of things very easily that we may have been clinging to without knowing it, right? Whether it's worry, whether it's anxiety, whether it's people from the past, relationships that we say with our mouths we have let go of, but we're still clinging to. Hey, Nicole, it's so great to see you, right? So the full moon has been a huge blessing for me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really grateful. And I can't wait. And you guys know typically when there's a full or a new moon, you feel the energy of it at least for a day or two after. So I can't wait to see what these next couple of days have in store for me, right? And it's not because today hasn't been difficult, right? It's been just like every other day. I've had to do a lot of boundary setting with clients. I've had to tell people in my DMs, no, I'm not going to give you free readings, right? Which is hilarious. Most people get approached in the DMs by fake babas and shit. I get dry begging in my DMs. It's not funny, but I do. I get sob stories. I get dry begging. In fact, those of you who are a part of the Sacred Roots Facebook group, you're probably aware of the fact that I do flash sales at least once a month, sometimes more, right? Those flash sales started as a result of the dry begging that I was getting in my DMs on Facebook because people would come to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I need your help, Mambo, but I don't have any money right now. I can't afford reading. I can't," and my prices are, I think they're really accessible. For me to be a whole Mambo, the fact that you can get 30 minutes of my time for less than $100 is, I think it's pretty accessible, right? Um, but people would, Nicole, because you asked, I promise you that the next time it happens, I'm going to take a screenshot and send it to you. I promise you I'm going to do it. People do it all the time. People will do that, or my favorite, they'll text me or they'll DM me and they'll say, Mambo, I just have a really quick question. And then when I'm like, oh, okay, well, you can get on my calendar. Here's the current discount code. Oh, well, it's just a question. I don't have a I don't think I need a reading. And I'll entertain it and be like, okay, well, what's your question? And they'll say something like, what is the spiritual significance of a 45-year-old woman feeling like she's stuck in the same place? Bitch, you want to know why you feel stuck, don't you? And you know that you need to book a reading. You know that's just not a quick question. Like the ways in which people will go out of their way to suck up spiritual labor from certain healers. But here's the thing, right? And this is a realization that I had this morning at 4:30 in the morning when I was sweeping my house like somebody's Mima. That's my fault. That's my fault. And low key, and the reason why this live stream started at 8:30 and not 8 like it usually does is because I was meeting with my business coach. And this goes back to synchronicity, right? I had that realization at 4:30 this morning when I was wandering around my house making coffee and sweeping. But then my business coach said something very similar to me in the session before this one, right? Your clients in your community treat you the way that you train them to treat you. And if I'm always overgiving and overpouring and I don't have a boundary until I'm stretched thin and at compassion fatigue and snappy, then that's something that I have to hold. And I think that because for so long I was trying to not be, the spiritual community has a lot of predatory people in it, right? When you go on TikTok, there are bitches who just, I'm sorry, I shouldn't call people bitches. There are people, humans, who are just pulling things out of their butt and calling it spiritual advice, right? There's a lot of predatory people. And I think that a huge part of what I was trying to do for so long was be like, okay, well, I just have to be overly accessible. I have to not be expensive. I have to, because I don't want to be confused for a predatory person. And then what happened was I became so porous and so overly accessible that is how I end up with more DM requests for people looking for free labor from me than people who are willing to pay for it. So yeah, you said who does that? Nicole, you would be surprised. You would be surprised. And especially when it comes to social media, in my experience, TikTok, this is why I don't go on TikTok. People are like, I follow you on TikTok. You can look on my TikTok. There's two reasons why I don't post on TikTok. I've never done a TikTok. The first is the first time that I put up a post on TikTok, I was still a part of my former organization that I separated from a few years ago. And as soon as I put that one post up, I had multiple spiritualists come out of the woodworks and attack me and say, that organization is fake. They don't do real work. They were attacking me because they couldn't get to my former mentor. So they were attacking me by proxy. So I didn't want to deal with that. So I took the post down. But in addition to that, TikTok and Facebook are the two spaces where I've come to realize that we talk a lot about spiritual bypassing, but energetic bypassing in general, right? With the exception of Sacred Roots, which is my group, because I delete post requests where people put up like that, where they're coming in asking for free dream interpretation or asking for free readings, right? It's one thing if you are learning to divine and you're in the group and you're like, this is what I think this divination says, can I get feedback? That's one thing. But if you just outright are coming along and you want to know why your baby, is asking about your grandmother, even though your grandmother's been dead for a year, that's something you need to get a reading on, right? So I'm sorry. Again, full moon energy has me all over the place. I only have one cup of coffee today. But I say that to say that, and this is why I'm working with a business coach. I've told you guys before, don't trust healers who don't have a healer. I have a mambo that I work with. Don't trust coaches who don't have a coach. I have two coaches. I have a life coach and a business coach. And a huge part of the reason why I'm working with my business coach is because I really want to turn that dynamic around. What does any of that have to do with the full moon? I think that part of what this particular full moon in Aquarius has helped me with is getting real about the fact that the more that I make my self accessible to people who are not about their spiritual healing, the more that clogs up space and creates blockages for the people who are serious about their healing to get to me, right? And so that has involved letting go all the stuff I've been doing earlier this year, letting go of certain clients, letting go of certain students. Although it's been heartbreaking and it's been hard, it has to happen so that I can keep space clear. I'm never going to get in everybody who's here on the live tonight, and I'm not just saying it because y'all are here. Like, I'm seeing the names, Dulcinea, Nicole, Bratal. Hey, Tori, you knew I was going to speak you in existence. You guys are all people who poured back into me. And I see results in how you show up in the world. And you've never given me grief about my standards, right? If all of my clients, y'all represent probably the minority. I wish you guys were the majority. If all of my clients showed up the way that you guys did, I'd be a happy, happy girl. So that is literally, some of you guys I've named by name to my business coach, right? And so being really, really clear about how I show up and that what I command in exchange for my service is not me being greedy. It's not me taking advantage. It's not any of those things. People treat you the way that you teach them to treat you. And that, very much in that King of Swords way, understanding that being inaccessible is not the same thing as you being stuck up. And that if you are overly accessible, it makes it hard for you to have the clarity of sight and vision to get your work done, right? I'm grateful that I'm finally unveiling the new chapter workshop this month. But I had the idea for this workshop back in February. I had the idea back in February. And because I was showing up for people and over lowering my prices and giving things away for free and letting people trick me into being on the phone with them for an hour, even though they only paid me 15 minutes, right? It just led to a lot of overwork and compassion fatigue that really made it hard for me not only to show up for myself, but to show up as my full self for the people who actually were giving equal and fair exchange, right? I don't have a single coaching client that I work with right now that is giving me grief. I have had to let go of students who confuse my teachings with either me being their friend or me being obligated to engage in toxic positivity with them. What does that mean, right? Always say, my job as a priestess is to deliver the medicine, and not all medicine is sweet. In fact, the most effective medicines are bitter, right? So sometimes I'm going to have to tell you, hey, you're not being honest. Hey, you're not giving your best. Hey, I'm noticing that you're saying that you don't have the bandwidth for but you found a way to make it to this Mexico trip, or you found a way to go out to happy hour, or you found a way to go to such and such. but then you complain about not being able to go to the gym, or you complain about not having time to go to the river. You say that you don't have time to pray, but you have time to set up Tinder dates. Why does Tinder get more of your attention than your spirits do? Those are things that I have to say as a priestess to the people that I work with, to the students that I mentor. And so when you are so, Spirit, I can't keep giving space to people who love the aesthetics of spirituality, but don't want to put in the hard work and don't want to hear the hard truths. And those are the people who think that just because they give you $20, that you owe them loyalty, and that your loyalty to them somehow outranks and outweighs your loyalty and your obligation to Spirit and to God, right? So I'm excited. I think there's a new caliber of students, of clients, of community that's really, really going to come my way August moving forward. And I'm excited. I can't wait for it. I no longer carry grief for the clients I've had to stop working with. This past year has been the first time where I've had to turn people away. And you guys have been hearing me say this for months now. Like, I've been having to tell clients I won't work with you anymore because your behavior is not getting any better. I think ritual is easy. And I forget his name, but there's a Baba who just made a video about this. For a lot of people, ritual is easy. The performativity of spirituality is easy, right? People want the mounting. They want the big performative thing. They want the ceremony they can take a picture of. But when it comes to the everyday impact of who you are and the little steps, the conversations you have with God when no one's looking, making sure that the water on your altar is fresh. Nobody wants to do those things for some reason. Now, how did Mexico trips get in here? I'm trying to go again. You know damn well I'm not talking about you, girl. You know damn well I'm not talking about you. If there's one thing you're going to do to Sunny, you're going to get your readings. You're going to get your check-ins. I don't even have to, half the time I don't even have to reach out to you and say, hey, how are you? The way that I have to do with certain other people, right? It's like, almost like if I'm thinking about you, you will reach out to me. So you know I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about somebody completely different. You so silly. So I'm rambling about my own personal stuff and my full moon revelations, but what does that have to do with y'all? What does that have to do with us as a collective? Well, what it has to do with us as a collective is, again, Jupiter is still in Leo. We still have this Saturn retrograde in Aries. We still have this Neptune retrograde in Pisces, right? All of us are going to continue to get some big revelations around, because it's easy to focus on everybody else, right? But when you get the revelation about how your own habits may be holding you back, right? And your own issues with ego are getting in the way, it just clears a space for you. And that's what was happening with me. And even though I didn't understand it, and again, this is why the coach also needs a coach and why the healer also needs a healer, right? I can talk all day long about how false humility is just ego wrapped in a different costume. I didn't know that I was doing that. And that's what was happening. I was so afraid of being seen as a greedy person that I was exercising false humility. And that's just another iteration of ego. Because why am I afraid of being seen as somebody who's commanding my worth, right? Everybody else wants to get paid for their labor. Why shouldn't I get paid for mine, right? So that was a huge revelation for me, and I'm just so grateful for this full moon. What were some revelations around the full moon that you all had? Anybody else had any full moon revelations that they want to share? While you guys are thinking about your full moon revelations, again, I want to talk a little bit more about this Lionsgate portal and why it's going to be so significant, right? Again, we have 2 eclipses this month. And I talk about them in the All Signs reading on my Patreon. I'm going to talk about them in detail next week. I'm not going to go into detail about them tonight. But I will say that there's a lunar eclipse in Leo on the 12th, which is also the same day as the new moon. And we're going to talk about that next week. And then we have the partial lunar eclipse on August 28th, right? So 2 eclipses in 1 month, big energy around transformation, right? And again, with those retrogrades happening at the same time, there is so much coming up around our courage to be seen, right? Are we going to stand in the power of who we are? Are we going to stop shrinking and hiding? And then also about the sacred art of letting go, right? I think about this phrase that I used to hear my mom say all the time. And again, my mom, beautiful woman from Faraday, Louisiana. Every time she would say something, I would just brush it off as a country accent. But they were always correct, right? A lady knows when to leave. And that sounds like some conservative bullshit, but it's true. Think about how many fucked up situations, traumatizing situations you experienced in your life that could have been avoided had you just learned when to leave, learn when to let go, right? And there is something divine about knowing when to let go, knowing when a thing has run its course and served its purpose. And it is ego, whether we think we're doing it from a nice place, right? And here's the thing, ego doesn't always have to be evil or ill-intentioned, right? I just talked about my false humility. I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to be inaccessible. I don't want people to think I'm greedy, which led to my oversharing or overgiving, right? But ego, whether good or bad, does get in the way of someone's ability to let go. It gets in the way of their ability to understand when a cycle has run its course and when it's time to take on a new cycle or step into a new chapter, right? And those are really important things to understand. Absolutely, Nicole, standards are important. Standards are important, and the people who respect you don't expect you to disrespect your standards. They don't expect you to throw your standards out of the window, right? I've had to learn the hard way, and I spent most of my 30s learning the hard way that the second that it's clear that someone doesn't respect your standards or tries to gaslight you into believing that you're too sensitive or you're too much or that your standards are going too far, that is a sign of someone who doesn't very much respect you, right? So I agree tremendously, Nicole. Thank you so much for that. Being empathetic towards others does not mean I let go of my needs standards. To not become enmeshed in someone else and call it love. Yes, 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 yes. That is a big lesson. And I think, again, that this Neptune retrograde is really, really driving that home for those of us who have strong 12th house placements or a lot of Pisces in our charts, right? All of us who have a lot of Pisces, a lot of Cancer, or 12th house placements in our chart are really, really learning about what does it look like to hold your standards while also being empathetic. Big, big lessons around that. Roots being revealed. I'm not going to share that here, Nicole, unless you want to, and I'll let you take the lead on that. But first of all, thank you for sharing that with me today, because that really, really warmed my heart. I say all the time that as I'm doing a reading, because I'm just moving as a vessel and I'm just sharing what shows up for me, speaking of ego, I have to get out of the way and let the message come out. And so it's always really, really lovely for me. Why do I want to cry? I promise you guys I haven't had anything to drink today. It's just this full moon. It means the world to me when clients come back to me and give me updates and say, you know what, Mambo, I learned this and this came through. Okay, thank you, Nicole, for giving me permission. I did a reading for Nicole last year, or earlier this year, I don't remember. But I remember it was revealed in the reading that she has strong Gede in her family bloodline. and particularly due to Caribbean roots linked to Louisiana, particularly, right? Her Caribbean ancestry has links to Louisiana in a really particular way. And at the time, she was like, I don't think I have family that's from Louisiana. It didn't resonate with her in that moment. But today, she came back and updated me and showed me that in her ancestry, on both her mother and father's side, there is ancestry, Creole ancestry related to Louisiana. So that really that warmed my heart to get that update and that confirmation. And I'm grateful for that. I know I complain a lot about it. I complain a lot about being a full-time priestess. This shit ain't no hoe. And and sometimes it feels really, really ghetto. But those moments where people come back to me and confirm the wisdom that Spirit blessed me to be a vessel to give to them really, really do mean a tremendous amount to me. They really warm my heart. So thank you for sharing that with me, Nicole, as well as giving me permission to share that here in the live today. Okay. My notes are all over the place. Give me a moment. But yeah, so the Lionsgate portal. So as I mentioned, this is somewhat of a modern spiritual observance. This is not something traditional. I low-key don't feel like I had ever heard people mention Lionsgate's portal until around COVID. And maybe that was just my blindness and my lack of awareness. But I never heard it, right? But people talk about it as a very unique energy portal. And they fixate on, again, August 8th, but it actually starts on July 26th and goes until August 12th. It's not really recognized in traditional astrology like that. But the astrology of early August in particular does have a lot of spiritual significance. And this year in particular, it has a lot of significance because of all the big transits happening, right? Again, Jupiter being in Leo, the Saturn retrograde, Neptune's retrograde. I'm not going to bring those back up. There are previous astro hour segments that you can go back and watch. And again, the All Signs reading on my Patreon also discusses these things. Hello, Tana. Hello, not the government name. I'm a child. I use your first name like I'm your auntie. I'm so sorry. Hey, Omomorare, good to see you. But yeah, so the Lionsgate portal, it's going to be at its peak on the 8th, but the energy of it will last until the 12th. And on the 12th, we also have that first eclipse of the month, right? The solar eclipse, right? So this particular, even though I typically don't work with Lionsgate, I would strongly encourage people to really focus on their manifestations between the 8th and the 12th, because that energy is going to be super, super potent, right? And we'll talk about the eclipse next week, but it's going to reveal a lot of things that you need to release and let go of to make space for new things to come in, okay? Eclipses always create an environment for major new beginnings, okay? From you, I'll allow it. So what I would encourage people to do between now and August 12th, between now and August 8th through 12th, really pay attention to any recurring themes that are coming up in your life, okay? If you feel like you're having the same conversation over and over again, if people are coming to you with the same concerns, right? Synchronicities in your dreams, right? Those deja vu moments where you dream a thing and then you see it in the waking world. Pay attention to things like that, because that is giving you wisdom and information around the type of new beginning that this portal and this eclipse is going to open up for you, as well as the things you need to release and let go, right? Pay attention to meaningful conversations and opportunities, right? I said this, and I know I keep bringing up the Patreon readings, but I just did them a couple days ago, so they're still fresh on my mind. Particularly for the earth in the not the water going through it, but that's another conversation. Particularly for the earth and the fire signs, it can feel like the first 2/3 of this year was kicking your back in. Okay. And it can feel like you were dragging along and fighting, like you know the meme of Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boys in the Hood where he's punching at the air. It can feel like you spent the first 2/3 of this year punching at the air, right? But I promise you, as soon as August gets here Saturday, and especially in that time period between the 8th and the 12th, you are going to feel a lot of progress, right? A lot of momentum is going to come up. The things that you prayed over and the things that you mapped out for yourself towards the end of 2025 and the first few months of 2026, you will finally start to see a lot of movement and momentum around. Okay. My brother was born on August 8th. I wonder what that means for him. We'll talk about that more next week, Tori. When I go into the eclipses in detail next week in the new moon, we'll talk about that more in detail then. Let's see. My birthday is the 9th, so it's always a very interesting time for me, even before I heard the term Lionsgate. I love that for you. That's a powerful cluster of time to be born in between. So I love that for you. Male Leos are a special breed always. Now, not too much on male Leos. I love male Leos. Some of my favorite people in the world are male Leos. I love. Somebody told me that whatever your rising is, you get along really, really well with the opposite gender of that sign. And my rising is Leo, and I've always gotten along really, really, really well with Leo men. Before I knew astrology, I always attributed it to the fact that I'm a hip hop head. But I love Leo men. Dreams have been vivid as hell lately. That makes a lot of sense. I have not slept. I think I got a little less than 3 hours of sleep last night, and I've been up and moving around since 4 a.m. But before last night, my dreams had been very vivid too. Very vivid, and a lot of people from my past, like people that I haven't spoken to in years, if not decades, right? Baby Rose was in one of my dreams, but I attribute that to the fact that I've just been listening to her album nonstop. But that's the only random thing. Other than that, it's been a lot of people from my past coming back up in my dreams. I love them too as friends. I would never date one of those. They are peacocks. Leo men are very, very peacockish. Please don't come back. Well, some of them, I'm not going to sit here and lie. You're right. I don't want them to come back either. I was about to, I caught myself. I was about to accidentally lie. I don't do sequels. I don't want them to come back either. But I think part of the reason why they were, I know, I'm correcting myself. I know that part of the reason why these particular people from my past were in my dream was because there were certain lessons around my experiences of them that my spirits wanted me to be 100% clear about, right? I was interpreting my experiences of them and the lessons I was supposed to get from those experiences in a completely different way. So through my voyages, spirit had to reveal to me what the actual lesson and the actual message is. And also why those people were not allowed. And we don't think about that sometimes. We do all this grieving for people we have to let go of. But once you understand the new iteration of who you are post-death card moment, and spirit reveals to you that those people were not going to be able to handle or even benefit from the blessing of who you are in your new self, right? So I think that's a huge thing that I gained from these dreams. I don't know how that showed up for you, La Ba Lin, but that was a huge part of what was revealed to me. Dulcinea, y'all are funny. I know. We've got great senses of humor. Being, you know what? Being in touch with God will make you a funny person. It, I don't know any other way to say it. Like, once you realize just how silly humanity is and the spirit's revealed to you, how ridiculous we are as human beings, you have no choice but to be funny and to laugh at a lot of this shit. Right, I'm trying to allow myself to go with my initial interpretations of the dreams and not overthink myself into false beliefs, self-sabotage. Yes, same here. Same here. Um, People have been trying to enter back into my life through other people. If you are picking up what I'm putting down, I also have a lot of heavy surveillance over my social media and over my actions, right? Um, so I've felt the energy, but spirit has just had to reveal to me, like very specifically through my dreams, what's going on. That was my full moon revelation. Finally stopped crying over my college friend group that I had to walk away from. They were deaf in my dreams last night, acting a fool. And see, that's the thing. Think about who you were in college. That's not you, right? And who you were in college was probably dope for your 17, 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-old self. But grown woman you can't really hold space for or tolerate those kind of friends. You just probably have outgrown them, and that's okay, right? When I think about oh my God, I was so sheltered and so shy. Always been smart like sharp as a tack. Always been a smart girl, but just really reserved, really quiet. Shrank a lot as my 17, 18, 19-year-old self. So no, it doesn't even make sense that I think the way that certain friendships from college ended was hurtful because people are nasty and people really don't understand that you can just let a person go. It doesn't have to be vicious. Especially like, okay, mama, I'll say it. Especially women who don't have a lot going for themselves. They don't understand that everything don't have to be a Real Housewives moment. You don't have to be vicious with people, right? Life's not an episode of Baddies. So the way that the separations happen may have been painful, but realistically, I don't want to sit around and reminisce over, shit we did at the Bear Cafe on Osprey Plaza in my 40s. I don't want to have those conversations, right? Hey, Sylvia, good to see you. Yeah, I have to purge the surveillance. They steady watching. Do your protections over your social media. Keep up with them. People who are bored and who have evil eye and have that monitoring spirit, they don't stop. They don't stop. So keep doing your protections. I've realized that if I let up even for a second, bitches will. I didn't even know it was that important, but let's get back to the messages and the things we should focus on for the Lionsgate. We're here to talk about Lionsgate. We're here to talk about post-full moon reflections. So again, continue to share your post-full moon reflections if you feel comfortable. So another thing, pay attention to what is asking to emerge. That's another thing. Leo is creative energy, right? And Leo being the 5th house in astrology represents your creative energy, the inner child with the big imagination, right? So you may get some new ideas or some ideas that left you that you forgot about can bring themselves back up, right? Big ideas, big dreams that a younger version or a childlike version had. You can get some clarity around how to actually execute those things in that Page of Wands, rooting my dreams into reality kind of way. Page of Wands is also the messenger, right? So pay attention to the messages that are trying to emerge right now, because those can turn into really beautiful brilliant creative opportunities, remembering that Leo is the sign of theater. It's the sign of creativity and performance, right? So if an idea or a feeling, a spiritual download is trying to emerge, give it its space. You can probably be very, very grateful for what it opens up for you by the time the end of the year comes. And then also just leave room for what that 4-day period between the 8th and the 12th is revealing to you about how the next chapter of your life is going to go. I think those are all some really important things for us to really lean into between the Lionsgate portal and that first eclipse. And again, we'll talk more about that eclipse next week, okay? I feel like I did an astro hour on Pluto being in Aquarius. Don't quote me. We've done a lot of astro hours in the last couple months, so I don't remember. But Pluto is also in Aquarius, right? We have the full moon was in Aquarius. We have Pluto in Aquarius. So really thinking about how the collective benefits from your light. That is different than being people pleasing. That is different than sacrificing yourself for the nurturing of others. Okay? What do I mean? Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian, but they also are the sign of individual freedom, right? What does that mean for us? We serve our community best by being our most authentic selves. We serve our collective best by being our most authentic selves. That's another reason why I think it's really important during that 4-day period to really pay attention to what spirit is trying to get you to create and to birth, right? Because yes, it's something that benefits you because you get to learn a lot about your capacity for creativity. But think about all the people in the world who are blessed by what you give them, right? I know she's going through it right now. Tomi Adeyemi, the author of Children of Blood and Bone. I don't know what the fuck them people in Hollywood did to that poor girl, because she can barely even talk at this point about what she's experienced and why she no longer wants to be connected to the film that came from her book. But I think about her, and I think of so many people were inspired to learn about the Orisha after reading her novel, right? After reading her work that talked about African spirituality. So many people were met with a sense of pride, not even knowing that we come from these lineages of our own spiritual systems and gods, right? Had she not had the bravery and the courage to create this beautiful, beautiful work, so many people wouldn't even be, open to having learned these things, right? So again, your authenticity, your light is how you serve the collective, being your most authentic self, being unafraid to let these ideas come into existence, right? That's a very Pluto and Aquarius kind of thing to be thinking about, right? So again, this Lionsgate portal is really going to help us with thinking about courage versus the ego. How it is that we answer our calling, right? I think a lot of us are answering the wrong callings. We're trying to perform things that we see other people do. We're trying on other people's shoes and shit. And that's fucking weird. Answer your calling, show up as yourself, right? Also the discipline behind spiritual gifts. I know I said it earlier already, but we have to be really, really skeptical of people who only care about the aesthetics and the performance of spirituality, right? Everybody loves ritual. Everybody is obsessed with being mounted. Can't say the prayers in the native language. Don't have the proper candles in their home. Aren't praying multiple times a day at the times that they need to, right? Have a misunderstanding of what the offerings even are that they're supposed to be given to their spirits. It's the discipline. It's your habits. Habits make a spiritual lifestyle, not a performance, not a showy thing, right? It's not an aesthetic. It's a lifestyle. It's not a dress code, right? That really gets highlighted at this time. The main thing that this portal is here is to really teach us about what it is to become the person that our purpose requires. I'm gonna repeat that again. How can we become the person that our purpose requires? And this is, I started this off talking about how I've had to let go of a lot of clients and how that was really uncomfortable for me, because as an entrepreneur, you can be in this mindset of, you know, am I really going to turn away business? Yes. Sometimes you have to turn away business, especially when you are doing spiritual business. If you realize that you are giving people a lot of wisdom about what is required for them to become the person that they need to be to live in their purpose, and they make an intentional decision that they're going to continually bypass those instructions, it doesn't serve you to even keep taking money from them or keep engaging with them. And you have to let them go so that you can connect with the people who are ready to answer that call, right? But even on your personal self, are you actually doing the things that are in alignment and are going to help you live out your purpose, become your purpose? And if you're not, or if you had a mistaken understanding of that, it's not the end of the world, you know? Chariot energy is about pivoting when we hit a bump in the road, right? Realizing you're doing something wrong doesn't mean that you cower and lay on the ground and like just fucking give up. Learn how to redirect and then commit to that, right? There are no shortcuts. Thank you, Nicole. There are no shortcuts. Discipline and habit will expose people every time. Just say you wanted some money or somebody and stop pretending to be about the lifestyle. Just say you wanted some attention. Just say, oh, Mama, all right, how many people, and we've seen a lot. I'll just say that. How many people just want attention? How many people just want to be understood as that bitch? That is one thing that I'm grateful for before I even took on the spiritual walk. I've been that bitch my whole life. And that may sound like an arrogant statement, but, you know, facts are facts. I've been that bitch my whole life. I did pageants early in life. I was a Girl Scout. I was fucking president of my middle school. And then when I went to high school, I was treasurer, then vice president, then president of my high school. I was president of my sorority when I was in college. Like, I've just always been that bitch, right? I bring that up to say that when it was revealed to me that I was supposed to do this work, I just took it as a part of my anointing. It wasn't the first time that I had attention. It wasn't the first time that I had to lead people. It wasn't nothing new for me. And I think that was a hard lesson that I had to learn, was that a lot of people come in the spiritual community. And that's why I have disciplined myself into talking about my spiritual abilities. I don't use the language of spiritual gifts anymore. A lot of people think that the I love them more than other people, or that God loves them more than other people. And that's some weirdo shit. Like, a lot of people, that attention that they get in spiritual community is the first time that they've ever felt like that bitch. I thank God that that is not my experience. And because of that, I have never had to take advantage of anybody. I've never had to predate on anyone. I've never felt threatened by anybody else. Like, even everything that I just said, I know that there's somebody who's going to hear that and be like, oh, that's some arrogant shit. But truth is truth and facts are facts, right? "41 years of being that bitch. I try to stay in the background sometimes, and the universe will not allow it. It's just like Leos. Learning that my rising was Leo really, really opened up a lot for me. Can't help it. Can't help it. It's not our fault. I didn't realize that I was a capable leader until college, where I learned how to appreciate myself and not beg for people's attention. I'm grateful for the healthy communities I started to curate. Absolutely. Absolutely. Creating healthy spaces is really, really important. It's really, really important. And I think more and more, I think it's so important to introduce female children to leadership and responsibility early in life, because women are already fed so many reasons to be in competition with one another, right? And if women are not taught early in life how to be leaders, how to share space, how to curate spaces, it will manifest as cattiness and unnecessary conflict when they are given leadership and responsibility later in life, right? And it will make them attack women who are comfortable with leadership because they feel like power is a finite resource instead of something that everybody has to tap into individually, right? My daughter is 13. She takes no one shit, not even period. And she shouldn't have to. She shouldn't have to. That is beautiful. Shout out to her. Shout out to baby girl. All right. Let me see if I've gone through all my notes about Lionsgate. But yeah, between Lionsgate, I think this year's Lionsgate is actually going to be really extremely efficacious for a lot of us. Extremely. I love an Aries woman. My best friend in the whole world is an Aries woman. And I've mentioned her on here. I call her my best friend, but she's really my sister. My sister from another mister. We should have been born into the same family. I'm really convinced of that. Her name even sounds like my first name, but she's an Aries. And I have two Aries younger sisters. They keep me in check and are hella honest with me. I remember when I was going through a lot of stuff a couple years ago with a former mentor, and I was letting it drive me crazy. It was my Aries sister who really snapped me out of it. It was like, bitch, why are you taking this? And I remember other people would try to gaslight me into believing that I deserved all that bullshit. And I was just so frazzled. And I would have to call my baby, and she would be the one who's like, the fuck? Do you know what kind of family we come from? Why are you letting people talk to you like this? Aries women do not play. They do not play about their self-worth. And if they love you, they don't let you play about your self-worth. So shout out to Aries women. But yeah, I think that this year's Lionsgate portal is going to be extremely efficacious for a lot of us, not just because it's the Lionsgate portal. I honestly don't think it's one of those things that's efficacious on its own, but because we have all this really delicious astrological energy happening at the same time. We have Jupiter in Leo already. We have Saturn retrograde in Aries. We have Neptune retrograde, which is just breaking through spiritual illusion and escapism in just period, right? All of this, along with the eclipses, is going to make this a really, really, really juicy time in terms of us having the ability to make a lot of progress. Again, some of us have felt like this year has been dragging ass. Things are about to really, really pick up for a lot of us. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see what that looks like. So, as always, I do have a reading. If anyone wants it, I'm more than happy to give it. If not, we don't have to do that. I don't want anybody to feel pressure, but I do have a Lionsgate reading. If anybody wants it, go ahead and submit your love offering. Put a comment down below, and then I'll do the reading for you. If not, I'm gonna just go ahead and wrap up by talking about some of the things that I'm working on. So I have so many things going on at the same time. What should I start with? I'm gonna talk about what I'm most excited about and what I was meeting with my coach about right before I got on here. So I said that I was gonna start offering more coaching specific opportunities to the community. On the 23rd of August, I will be doing the next chapter workshop. That's good balance, Angel. My Aries placements remind me my watery self to cut off. Yes, I love that for you. I love that. I have the next chapter workshop, which is going to be taking place Sunday, August 23rd. I initially planned it as a 4-hour workshop, but what my business coach illuminated for me in our call right before, he put his foot down and was like, no, shorten this shit down to 2.5 hours. So it will be scheduled from 2 to 5 on Sunday, August 23rd. It'll take about 2.5 hours, leaving 30 minutes for question and processing. But basically, the next chapter workshop it's 2 things. So as I mentioned, a lot of us feel like the first 2/3 of the year have been moving very, very slowly. The next chapter workshop sets you up with a plan that allows you to make sure that everything you wanted manifested before the year is over actually gets done, right? That's part 1. Part 2 of it is there are some of us who are watching this either live or in a replay. Why am I holding my titty? Live or in a replay. Some of us watching either live or in a replay who know we need change, but we don't understand what the change is that we need, okay? So part of what we're going to do in the next chapter workshop is get clarity over what it is that has you feeling stuck or confused, help you understand the narratives that you need to release or shift in order to not feel stuck any longer, and give you at least 2 concrete strategies. Everybody who participates in this will walk away with at least 2 concrete strategies to make sure that those false narratives don't show back up, and that they can actually make progress on executing those goals. Okay? So again, if you feel like you are a part of either of those 2 groups that I just discussed, I think the next chapter workshop is for you. This is the first time I'm doing it. The investment is $59. It will not be $59 if I do it again in the future. I think you should do it. If you feel like that is something that you are called to, definitely join us, okay? Rich Spirit is going to be starting on August 10th through the 14th. Deadline to sign up is August 8th. If you know you want to get your money right this year, right? Rich Spirit helps you bring in financial prosperity and abundance. I have reworked it to also help with financial protection, okay? In this economic climate, you should be doing protection work over your money, okay? So if you've been thinking about doing Rich Spirit, first of all, if you care about your money, but you don't want to make a $40 investment to make sure that your money is protected, I don't know what to tell you. But if you know that it's something you need to call in a new source of income, you need help with getting a home, you need help with transformation around your finances, you also want to make sure that your financials are covered and protected from loss or theft, join us for Rich Spirit, okay? Do we give you a question for the love offering, or does this pertain to the Astro Hour? You can do either one. If you have a specific question, I'm more than happy to answer it for you. But if you want the Lionsgate reading, then just send either one. So yes, you can do either one, Sylvia. Dulcinea wants the Lionsgate reading, so I got you. I'm going to stop there right now for updates, and then I'll wait until I'm done with the readings to finish my updates, okay? So this reading is to just give insight into what the Lionsgate portal has in store for you in terms of revelation, as well as what you need to be mindful of in order to receive the wisdom from it, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits to walk with me, and elevated ancestors. What is the wisdom that the Lionsgate portal is here to give Dulcinea? How will it help her stand in her light? What will it open up for her? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Sylvia, let me know if you're still here. Dulcinea, are you here? I'm about to do your reading, babe. I actually like this reading for you. So in terms of the light that you are ready to embody as a result of the Lionsgate portal, which talks about authentic gifts and strengths that you're being asked to express more fully, I think you already know this. You have a lot of magic in your bloodline, right? We've talked about this before. I think it's great that you have the discipline to get your readings and to do your spiritual work. But I think really, really understanding how much magic lives within you and that you have the power and the alchemy to literally create the environment that you want for yourself. I think it's one of those things that you kind of know intuitively, but fully embracing as a part of your identity. There's still a little bit of work to be done there, right? And this portal is really, really going to help you in terms of embracing that more fully. In terms of the shadow guarding your threshold, which talks about the fear, belief, habit, or wound that keeps you from fully stepping into that light, there's a part of you that feels if you take up too much space, people won't love you. And you know what? I hate that that's a belief that you may carry or a subconscious narrative that you have. But thinking back to what I was saying earlier in the live, I'm grateful that I said those things because I think you were one of the people that needed to hear that because the Lover's card is coming up in reverse for you. That is a shadow that you need to release. That is not true. The more you stand in your power, the more people will love you. Okay? And anyone who would abandon you for standing in your power, not only do they not love you, they don't love yourself. They don't love themselves. And we don't need people who are incapable of loving themselves are not capable of loving you the ways you need anyway, right? In the position of the leadership, your spirit is calling you toward, which specifically is about the actions or a way of being that's going to help you embody your purpose. We have the 7 of Wands. The less you care about what other people think, the easier it's going to be for you to stand in your full elevation, right? 7 of Wands. I love, and I should have used Millennial Tarot for this reading, but one of my favorite representations of this is Millennial Tarot. Not because of the artwork, but because of the phrasing, right? The 7 of Wands in Millennial Tarot is the card of sorry, not sorry. It's about being unapologetically committed to being in alignment with your purpose and elevating beyond anybody who tries to bring you down to size or humble you out of standing in your full elevation. The easier you can do that, the better your own experience of your inner magic and alchemy will be, okay? So that is Dulcinea's reading. Sylvia, you want the Lionsgate portal reading? Okay, awesome. I'll do you next. I assume you sent your love offering. I'm just gonna trust that you sent your love offering. I don't want to stop. I have a good momentum. It's hard because it comes from my own family and upbringing. But yes, so spot on. We'll talk about it more in detail in your next reading. I have a similar experience. And I'm trying to say this in a way that's delicate because my family I don't talk to be stalking my page. Learning to forgive people for the ways in which they felt limited and not internalizing that will give you the ability to not hold yourself small. And again, we can talk about that more in future readings and future one-on-one conversations. But yeah, so I lost track already. Sylvia is next, I believe. Sylvia is next, isn't she? Okay, yeah, Sylvia's next. So I'll do Sylvia, then I'll do Nicole, and then I'll do Adelaida. And then if there's anyone after Adelaida, just go ahead and put a comment down so that I can take care of you after her, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors. What wisdom does the Lionsgate portal have for Cynthia? What will be the breakthrough around courage and purpose that she receives from the Lionsgate portal and wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Nicole, you're next. So Nicole has a question that's not the portal, and I can definitely take care of that after Sylvia. Nicole, I got you next. So Sylvia, in the position of the light, you are being ready to embody, which talks about the authentic strength or aspect of yourself that you're being asked to fully stand in, to fully express. We have the Seven of Pentacles. You are one of those people, two messages from this. You are more disciplined than you give yourself credit for. And your discipline is actually your strongest attribute. You are not afraid to work hard when other people aren't looking. You're not afraid to really prune and refine your processes. You also have a like a gold finger. I don't know why I'm saying like a gold hand. That's so weird. But like you have a gold thumb, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is you are really blessed at being able to spot long-term investments. I don't know if you already know that about yourself. If this is news to you, then this is something you really got to start talking to your spirits about, right? You're one of those people where it's like you can put money into a stock, forget about it, and then you go back and look a year and a half later and you got $15,000, $20,000 sitting somewhere, right? So that's something that they really want you to lean into a little bit more and capitalize off of, okay? In the position of the shadow that's guarding your threshold, the fear, belief, habit, or wound that's keeping you from fully stepping into the light, you overwork a lot. You overwork and you overdo. You overstretch yourself. Four Swords is a card of rest and recuperation so that we have the capacity to take on the next battle. And it typically comes up for people who are afraid to rest. It's people who are so fearful that if they rest, if they take a break, if they sleep more than 4 or 5 hours a night, that somehow the world is going to stop moving. And that's not true, right? In fact, you can make a lot more progress in terms of the things that you build and invest if you scheduled more time for peace, rest, and relaxation and recuperation, because it's the rest that allows you to have clarity around the next battle, the next fight, the next thing you go into. So this is something that they really, really want to help you fully understand, right? In the position of the leadership your spirit is calling you toward, we have Page of Wands, and this is one of my favorite cards. Two messages I get from this. There's the obvious one about you having a lot of creative passion, right? There's a lot of creative endeavors. I don't know if you used to write and you stopped. I'm seeing like movies or TV for some reason. Like you're really good at painting pictures and telling stories. You have an amazing creative imagination. You just need to give yourself permission to nurture it and turn that into tangible things. But also, I think you're claircognizant, right? And this is something that I'm learning a lot more, both about the Page and the Knight of Wands. They tend to be people that are claircognizant. Like you be knowing people's business and don't know it. You don't know, or what I mean is you know their business, you don't understand how it came to you. And with the Page of Wands being a card of the messenger, Spirit really wants you to work on trusting those. It's almost like you be knowing people's business and you get these downloads, but you don't want to say nothing because you don't want to seem rude, right? And that's the thing. That's very much a Page of Wands experience, right? they're the kid with the big imagination that says the thing that other people are afraid to say. So there's part of you that's afraid of being chastised or ostracized because of these things that you know. Your spirits really want you to work on being comfortable with that because they didn't give you that ability for no reason. Okay? Sylvia, let me know if that resonated with you. Hold on a second. Okay. I will divine regarding my ancestors on my own cards. Thank you. Are you okay? So you want the Lionsgate, Nicole? Are you sure? Okay. I'm going to trust you. You said you want the Lionsgate, so I'm going to do Lionsgate for you. So I'm going to do Nicole, then Adelaida, all right? Sylvia, let me know if that message resonated for you. Thank you, despite you calling me Cynthia. That was a Freudian slip. I do have a Cynthia client that I need to reach out to. So that is just, I apologize. I am so sorry. I know you are Sylvia. I don't know why I called you Cynthia. Apologies. Maybe that's a sign that I do need to circle back and reach out to Cynthia to see what's going on with her. You're right about my creativity. Drawing is my main out. I knew I was seeing like pictures for some reason. Okay. Nicole, you're next, and then Adelaida, all right? There's anyone else that would like a Lionsgate reading or who has a question, go ahead and submit your love offering and then put it in the comments, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits will walk with me. Elevated ancestors. What wisdom does the Lionsgate portal have for Nicole? How will this portal help her in standing in her light? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. Sylvia, do you have your art online? Do you have a store where you showcase your art? Have you shared your art with any galleries? If not, that may be something that you need to prioritize between now and when the year is over. Let me know. Okay. I'm going to switch decks because I think I've used this one too much. I'm going to use Millennial because I mentioned it earlier. Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits walk with me, and elevated ancestors. What is the wisdom of the Lionsgate portal that Nicole needs? And wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. I've been feeling bad, called to rest. I've been feeling called to rest. I need to stop feeling bad for it. Nothing wrong with resting. And sometimes you can have a manifestation that's trying to come through and it doesn't happen because your body's exhausted. I can't tell you how many times I've been worried about and praying over something. And then when I just lay my black ass down and go to sleep, I wake up and it's already taken care of. So I'm going to read the middle cards together because they came out. 2 cards came out as one, Nicole. So I'm going to read them as one message for the second card. In terms of the light that you are ready to embody, we have the 3 of Cups, and I love the 3 of Cups. 3 of Cups is a card of celebration and joy, right? Particularly joy around hitting a milestone, but it's also a card of friendship and community. I think giving yourself permission this year to really expand your friendship circle is going to be really important, right? You are blessed to have a man who loves you down and is your best friend. And I know you have a strong relationship with your daughter. But giving yourself permission to have a bigger circle and to cultivate a friendship circle so that you have people to celebrate your wins with is going to be really important. And that's the light that you're ready to embody. I think you've had to be hyper independent for so much of your life. that you've made a huge amount of breakthrough in terms of your relationship and being vulnerable there. But teaching yourself how to do that in friendships is also going to help you stand in your light. Hey, Aisha. Just joined in the live. May I get a reading? Absolutely. Go ahead and submit the love offering, and then I will do the Lionsgate reading for you after I'm done with Adelaida. Okay. Now, in position 2 for you, Nicole, we have the shadow guarding your threshold, and we have, it plays into the first card, right? We have the Hermit, which talks about you have a deep attachment and attunement with your intuition and your inner spirit, which is beautiful. But if you are not careful and you only depend on that instead of cultivating broader community and deeper friendships, it will turn into a shadow manifestation of that through the Moon card. And a shadow manifestation of the Hermit is literal hermitage, right? Which is social isolation. In the third position, we have the leadership your spirit is calling you toward. See here, and here's the other thing, right? Queen of Cups is an amazing nurturer. She's her best nurturer when she's nurtured herself when her own cup is full and she's giving from her overflow. And I'm not going to cry. I think that's a huge part of the reason why, yes, there's a need for you to have female friendships, but there's so many women who will be touched, moved, and inspired through friendship with you, right? I think it's really easy to only think about it in terms of, and this is very much an Aquarius lesson, right? It's really easy to think about, okay, well, this is how it benefits me, and deprioritize your own needs, which you shouldn't do in the first place. But also, women will so be strengthened by your story, by your energy, by the way you love, all of that, right? And that's something that they really want you to understand. So I hope that message resonates with you. I know I need some lady friends. Anyone here want to be my friend? There are people on this live that love you down, and you don't even know it. And I've said that to you before. There are people that get excited when you come to classes. Start connecting with people. I think that's the first step. Okay. Adelaida, you are next. I'm scrolling up so I can see your name. Then after Adelaida, we will do Aisha. I can probably get one more person in after Aisha if anyone wants it. But if not, then I will wrap up with Aisha for the night, okay? And I want to say thank you all for still being here. I know I got here a little later than normal. Again, I had my business coaching session right before. So I'm grateful that you guys are all pouring in and still here, even though it's almost 10 o'clock on a Thursday. Sylvia, I'll be your friend. I want to build a spiritual sister. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love it. Y'all make me so happy. Ancestors, angels, ascended master spirits that walk with me, and my elevated ancestors. What is the wisdom that Adelaida needs about the Lionsgate portal? What is this portal here to teach her about standing in her light? What is it here to help her reveal about living in her purpose? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. The light you are ready to embody. I love this. We have the Knight of Cups, which is the ally, right? And this means something really particular. The Knight of Cups is the Don Juan, the lover, somebody who makes big romantic gestures. You are not the Knight of Cups. You are the person that somebody is giving the cup to. What does that mean for you? The light you have to embody is that you're baby. You are a baby, okay? I know we're looking at the Knight of Cups, but I want to encourage you to get the Sun card in your tarot deck and focus on the baby in that deck, right? Baby gets what baby wants. I think you are comfortable with being the person that pours love, with being the person that's demonstrative, with pouring in other people. A part of the light you have to get ready to embody is being comfortable with people serving and giving to you, right? I think a lot of times people want to be the lender and not the borrower or the person that's being poured into. So there's a heart chakra thing going on about receptivity that's coming up, but standing in the light that you're baby and it is your turn and your time to really receive in terms of people making big efforts in your name and to gain your favor, okay? In the position of the shadow guarding your threshold, you like to be busy. And I've said this before, there's a thing that people do where they may complain about how nobody ever helps them. And then the second somebody offers them help, they're like, no, I got it. And I think that you're kind of one of those people, right? That's why the Knight of Wands is here. You would rather be the initiator. You would rather be the person that gets things done than let somebody serve you. And a lot of times people move that way because there's control there and they feel like there's safety in that control. But vulnerability is a power, right? And so really learning how to stand in the power of vulnerability is going to be something that's really important for you. In the position of the leadership your spirits are calling you toward. Do you write, Adelaida? We have the Ace of Swords, right? Your spirit is calling you not only to trust your downloads and to trust the wisdom that they bring you around changes in terms of not just your narratives, but how you think about things, how you see the world, how you go about things. But you also have a responsibility to chart that wisdom down and to turn it into something concrete that can be shared with other people. That's something that your spirits are calling you towards. I don't know if you write, because I can't remember if that's a conversation that we've had, but I think it's important that you start thinking about that. How can I actually turn my wisdom into something concrete that I can share with other people? That's like literally tangible, words that become tangible that I can share with other people. Yeah, it's time that you start taking your writing much more seriously in terms of sharing it with other people. Absolutely. All right. I hope that resonated with you. We're going to wrap up with Aisha. I don't think there's anyone else that wants a reading. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with Aisha for the night. And I'll be back on Sunday for the weekly reading. It'll be at our regular time, 7:30 p.m. on Sunday, okay? Ancestors, angels, ascended masters, spirits that walk with me, my elevated ancestors, what wisdom does Aisha need about the Lionsgate portal? Any wisdom shared is deeply appreciated. You saw me shuffle, Aisha, so you know that I'm not making nothing up. Because I feel like a couple of these cards, you're going to be like, well, I already knew that, or you said that before. I apologize in advance, okay? Synchronicity is what it is, okay? In the first position, and I just said earlier that this is one of my favorite representations of this card. In the first position, which represents the light you're ready to embody, the authentic strength or aspect of yourself that you need to express more fully. Seven of Wands, sorry, not sorry. You have to start getting, and you've made a lot of progress. I'm not trying to sell you short, but fully embodying an energy of, I really don't care. I'm connected to my elevation, and whoever doesn't trust it or doesn't believe in it or who can't come with me, I just got to elevate beyond them and leave them behind, right? I'm unapologetic about the person I'm becoming, right? Fully embracing that, not getting wrapped up and distracted by the opinions or projections of other people are deeply important for you right now. In the position of the shadow guarding your threshold, we have the Chariot in reverse. And I think this is a really, really interesting card, right? When Chariot is upright, it represents somebody who is completely driven to succeed, to the point where even if life is pulling them in different directions, they will they'll pivot. They'll pick themselves back up, right? They're not afraid to go alone, right? Chariot is a solo traveler, but it came out in reverse for you. And so that is the thing that you need to really work on, right? That's the thing that's the shadow. It's like you're almost afraid to travel alone. You're afraid of who you have to leave behind. So these two energies are in conflict with one another, right? Spirit is saying in order for you to fully stand in your light, you have to elevate past people and be comfortable with leaving them behind, right? And if they get their shit together and come back to you, it is what it is. But your shadow makes you afraid of elevating beyond people, even if those people are holding you stagnant or projecting old, outdated versions of yourself onto you, right? In the position of the leadership, your spirit is calling you toward the action or way of being that will embody your purpose. We have one of my favorite cards, the Eight of Wands. You have to be so literally just completely, deeply devoted to and obsessed with yourself that you become adaptable to the blessings that are coming into your life, right? Another thing about the Eight of Wands is it represents the energy of Phoenix rising from the ashes. So you have to understand that everything you've experienced, even in terms of difficulty, was just to make you a bigger, badder, bolder bitch, right? And the more you believe that about yourself, the harder it's going to be for you to be deterred from people who may want to throw your past in your face or make projections onto you. Okay? I hope that was helpful. I hope that resonated and made sense. We did a card reading drill on Sunday for the Buck Moon. I just posted it to my channel. I forgot to post it before yesterday. It happens. It happens. I be forgetting to post shit too. That's why I do live streams, because if it's a live stream, it'll just go up and I ain't got to worry about it. My poor students be going through that. They have to remind me all the time, Mambo, can you post last night's class? Mambo, can you post the class from last week? I'm such a Luddite. I suck at technology, period. And then engaging with it is not my favorite thing. So I have to constantly be reminded around it. Yes. Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that it resonated with you, Aisha. Thank you for that. All right. This was fun. I don't know if y'all have ever witnessed me this talkative and hyper. Again, the full moon did something to me. I'm gonna go clean some more. I'm gonna go sweep and pray some more. I've been sweeping and praying like a Mima all day. But I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for trusting the wisdom and honoring the space that we've all shared and built together. I love the connections that are taking place tonight here in the chat. That really, really warms my heart. Again, I will be back here Sunday, 7:30 p.m. for the weekly energy reading. If you want to join us for the August round of Rich Spirit, click the link below to join the intake group. If you want to learn more about the next chapter workshop, click the intake group below so that you can join us on the 23rd for a workshop of transformation, planning, and decisive action for the remainder of the year. I'm always working on some shit. I know I got things that I could be advertising. My mind is going 1,000 places. So just read the description. I promise you all the links are accurate. And then I will have more updates on Sunday as well. Oh, last day. Tomorrow is the last day to get the July specials. July, I said that like my aunt. My Faraday came out of me for a second. July. Tomorrow is the last day to get the July specials, to get the Golden Shadows reading at the specialty price of $85 and to purchase the Rich Spirit body wash for the specialty price of $33.33. The August specials are going to be completely different. So if you want to get Golden Shadows reading or the body wash, make sure you purchase it before midnight tomorrow, because as soon as August 1st rolls around, there will be a completely new set of monthly specials. I feel like there's other stuff, but that's all I remember. Until then, I want you guys to take care, and I'll see y'all Sunday night. Bye.